The Vanishing of Lila Merrick. What hides in the heart of the Blue Ridge Wilderness? The Blue Ridge Highland Reserve is the kind of place people drive 12 hours to see. Sprawling emerald ridges, fog that wraps around the trees like silk, a silence so deep it feels sacred. But the forest has two faces. By day it is soft and inviting. By night it is a maze of shadows and ancient, unknowable things. Every year thousands come seeking its peace. Most leave with photos and memories, but some leave nothing at all. And in June of 2002, a family from Minnesota entered those woods with laughter in their voices, and left with a hole so dark and bottomless it swallowed the rest of their lives. This is the story of Lila Merrick, a 10-year-old girl who vanished in the Blue Ridge Reserve in the time it takes to boil water, and the nightmare that was uncovered 4 years later beneath the roots of a fallen tree. A nightmare no one in her family, the town, or the entire country was prepared to confront. The Merricks, Daniel, 45, a quiet middle school math teacher, his wife Erin, 41, a trauma nurse, and their daughter Lila, a gifted young illustrator, had planned the trip for months. Not a typical tourist stay, but a remote camping hike deep inside the Blue Ridge Highland Reserve, along the Whisper Point Trail, a lightly traveled path known for panoramic overlooks. The Merricks had always been cautious. Erin packed emergency kits like a soldier preparing for deployment. Daniel checked maps twice. Lila simply drew everything she saw. Birds in flight, crooked branches, mushrooms shaped like umbrellas. She loved the forest instantly. She said it felt alive in a friendly way. The family reached a secluded clearing surrounded by towering spruce trees. No nearby campers. No sound but wind and thrushes. It was perfect. They pitched their tent, set out their supplies, cooked a simple dinner, and watched the sun sink into a purple haze between the peaks. That first night was quiet enough to feel enchanted. No one knew the forest was already watching. The next morning, June 14th, the air was crisp and bright. After breakfast, they decided to refill their water containers at a small stream, roughly 300 yards downhill from their camp. "Lila," Daniel said, "want to come with us?" She shook her head, engrossed in sketching a fox she had glimpsed earlier. Just a few more lines. "I'll stay here." Erin hesitated. Lila rarely liked being alone, but the clearing was safe, and they never wandered far. "Okay, sweetheart," she said. "Just stay here. We'll be right back." Those were her last words to her daughter. Daniel and Erin walked to the stream together, talking about plans for the next day. Maybe hiking to the ridge overlook. They rinsed pots, filled water jugs, even joked about becoming mountain people. They were gone 13 minutes. When they climbed back up the slope, everything looked the same, except for the empty space where their daughter had been sitting. The forest was still, too still. "Lila," Erin called, smiling at first. "Nothing." "Lila, come on, honey. We're back." Silence. The sketchbook she'd been working in lay open on the log. The fox drawing was only half finished. Her pencil lay neatly beside it. There were no footprints, no broken branches, no signs she had walked anywhere. In that perfect, undisturbed clearing, an invisible boundary had been crossed between ordinary life and the horror that would come. Within an hour, panic turned methodical. Within 4 hours, methodical turned frantic. By nightfall, frantic turned into full-scale emergency action. Rangers, deputies, volunteers, and eventually federal agents flooded the area. Search grids were established. Drones with thermal sensors flew overhead. Bloodhounds were brought in. And something happened that chilled every investigator. When the dogs sniffed Lila's shirt and were released, they circled the clearing and then stopped, confused, whimpering. as if the scent simply ended. It made no sense. A person can't evaporate. A child doesn't simply disappear. Unless she didn't walk away. Unless she was taken. For 17 days the search continued. The Blue Ridge Wilderness fought the rescuers at every step. Steep ravines, thick underbrush, sudden fog, and old caves no one had mapped in 80 years. Experts ruled out all the usual suspects. Wild animals, no blood, no drag marks, accidental fall, no signs of disturbed vegetation. Got lost, her scent trail would have appeared somewhere. The Merricks were questioned, intensely and painfully, but cleared. They stayed near the trailhead for 6 months, refusing to go home. Newspapers carried her photograph for years. Tourists whispered her name when walking past Whisper Point. Lila's drawing, the unfinished fox, stayed in an evidence box like a frozen moment of innocence. Then the years rolled on. 1, 2, 3, and finally 4. The forest kept its secret like a shut mouth. Until the storm. 2 hikers from Atlanta, a couple named Jordan and Savannah Hale, were taking the Stone Creek Spur Trail, 7 miles from where the Merrick's campsite had been. A sudden thunderstorm forced them off the trail to take cover beneath a massive, downed chestnut tree uprooted during the previous year's hurricane. While trying to wedge themselves under the tangled roots, Jordan kicked something hard. A soggy green backpack, almost fossilized into the dirt. The zipper was rusted. The straps were frayed. Inside, scraps of decomposed fabric, a small, waterlogged notebook, 2 loose crayons, a child's sock, and slipping out of the debris, a small human skull. For a moment, Savannah tried to believe it was an animal, but she knew. They both knew. They called authorities immediately. The investigation roared back to life, like a machine restarting after years of dormancy. And the truth began to surface. Slowly, gruesomely, the skull was rushed to a federal forensic lab. DNA confirmed what everyone dreaded. It was Lila Merrick. Scraps of a shirt matched the one she wore the day she vanished. The notebook contained smeared pencil lines, impossible to decipher, but one corner held a tiny foxtail she had drawn on a previous camping trip. The finding site was puzzling, not close to the disappearance point, not near paths searched in 2002, not near any caves, meaning someone had moved the remains, someone who understood the park's terrain, someone local. Detectives reopened every interview from 2002. Rangers, hikers, fishermen, recluses known to live off-grid, maintenance workers. One name began to surface again. Russell Corin. Russell Corin had been living in a dilapidated cabin just 2 miles west of the Merrick's campsite in 2002. He'd been questioned back then, but nothing suspicious had been found. He was a handyman, a loner, no criminal record, but a new analysis raised questions. He worked in the reserve's maintenance division. He knew every ridge and hidden ravine. A complaint years earlier accused him of entering campers' sites at night just to watch them. Detectives obtained a search warrant for his property. In a dust-choked shed behind the cabin, under broken tools and old traps, they found a child's hiking boot matching Lila's size, a shredded piece of a sleeping bag liner, identical to the Merrick's, a rusted tin whistle. Lila had carried one to call birds, according to her mother, and beneath it all, a cracked Polaroid camera with undeveloped film cartridges. In the lab, fragments of one image were recovered, a blurred photo of a small hand. Lila's. Corin was arrested for questioning, and once inside the interrogation room, the facade cracked. At first, Corin denied everything. But when photos of the boot and sleeping bag liner were placed before him, he slumped. His voice was flat, emotionless, as if describing the weather. I saw her the day before, saw where they were sleeping, saw how far they were from anyone else. He explained how easy it had been, how he had waited until he saw the parents leaving for the stream, how he had approached Lila calmly, saying exactly what predators always say. Your parents asked me to take you to them. She trusted him. She followed. He didn't carry her off. He simply walked her away while searchers later combed the opposite side of the mountain. He kept her alive for 12 days, locked in his shed, terrified, confused, sometimes crying, sometimes silent. He said the news reports scared him. He worried she would identify him. The rest came out in monotone sentences that made investigators physically ill. He strangled her, dismembered her body, buried pieces across multiple ravines, placed her skull in an old backpack, tossed it off a steep trail where he believed no one would ever find it. His plan would have worked if not for the hurricane that uprooted the tree beneath which the backpack had rolled. Corin was charged with kidnapping, sexual assault, first-degree murder, evidence tampering. The trial lasted only 7 days. The evidence was overwhelming. The jury took 39 minutes to convict him. He received life in prison without parole. Daniel and Aaron Merrick attended every hearing, silent, hollow, holding each other's hands as if they might disintegrate without contact. After the sentencing, they walked out of the courtroom without a word. They sold their home, left Minnesota, and withdrew from public view forever, living quietly somewhere no one knows. The Blue Ridge Reserve remains beautiful, but to those who know this story, those who remember the girl with the sketchbook, that beauty is permanently shadowed. Because the forest does not take children, people do. And sometimes the most dangerous creature in the wilderness is the one living quietly among the trees, unseen, waiting,